Laurie McNeil is an international media marketing and branding expert who specializes in helping entrepreneurs and business leaders understand the power of developing one cohesive plan. She is a powerful speaker, and she is super kind to open for all of my summits. So me with my crazy ideas, I think I'll do a summit every month. Lori's hopped on that bandwagon too. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
I can't thank her enough. She is a powerful speaker who empowers and inspires others to step into their greatness and use media to reach more people and increase sales. Who doesn't want to increase sales? Everybody wants to, right? This is our number one thing as entrepreneurs. And everything's a sell, right? Either you're selling your product or you're selling yourself. Most of the time, you're selling yourself. Laurie was selected as an official speaker for the Think and Grow Rich World Legacy Tour and was invited as a featured speaker for Turning Point 2020 with 2.25 million people attending live. She is featured in the media over 500 times a year. Oh my goodness, of course she is. And her global work earned her the Lifetime Presidential Service Award. And most recently, the Global Visionary Leader Award, as well as Special Leader recognition by the LA Tribune, which I'm going to be in one of your books, and I'll let you talk about that. And with that, I give you Laurie McNeil.
Thank you so much, Marianne. It's always an honor to open for your events, and thank you for your patience. I don't know what happened, but everything just froze this morning.
It's
and
okay.
I couldn't access Facebook, email, computer, my phone. Like, I don't know what in the world was going on. So thank you so much for your patience. It's always great to be a guest keynote speaker for your events, Marianne. So thank you very much for having me again this month. And yeah, and I'm excited to be here. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I love what I do. Yes, I am an international speaker, international business strategist that specializes in media branding and marketing. And I love teaching the trifecta of those three things and how they serve as the foundation for your overall business. I talk to people all over the world every single day. And Marianne, I believe last time I was on your summit, I was actually speaking in the Bahamas. So I'm in Oregon today, and I'm traveling somewhere like every 24, 48 hours. So it's kind of crazy, but at the same time, I love it. And I wouldn't be doing anything else because I love serving people all over the world and helping businesses get from wherever they are to where they need to be, both brick and mortar and online. It's fun. I love it. And I love helping other people live out their passion and their legacies as well. So using those three things, I help people understand that they're not just extras. They're not just, if you have extra time, extra money, then you might kind of, do what I call throwing spaghetti at the wall, which is no strategy, no real plan. Just, I've got an extra $100 or an extra, 500, 1,000, whatever that is in your budget. And so you might buy an ad, or you might do this, or you might do that, invest in different things. And yes, you always want to do what you can to keep that ball rolling because momentum loves momentum. But at the same time, you want to have more of a strategy behind what it is that you're investing in and what it is that you're doing, and really understand why you're doing what you're doing. And the thing that's going to help you really, really have that mindset shift is to understand more about who you are, who you serve, and the problem that you solve. If you are not crystal clear on what it is that you are doing, then you're not going to be clear on the strategies that you need in order to accomplish those goals. And in order to reach your ideal client and customer, if you aren't crystal clear on those things, and if you aren't crystal clear on your own strategy, you can't possibly expect your ideal client and customer to be clear on who you are, who you serve, the problem that you solve. And although that may seem simple, I'm here to tell you, I talk to people every single day who are actually not clear on those things. They're just not. You might have a passion within you. You might have an interest. You might have, maybe you've been doing speaking or coaching or whatever that is, right? Financial services, whatever that is, for 5 years, 10 years plus. but you still aren't locked in on your messaging enough to be able to reach your ideal client and customer. And one of the biggest marks in knowing this is if you're exhausted doing what you love to do, but you're not reaching your ideal client and customer because you need the money coming in, but you're not necessarily working with the right people. The people that you're working with are exhausting you. And that's one of the biggest marks in this aha moment that you should be having when you're feeling that way. So when you're doing more of what you love, then you're not going to be as likely to get burned out. You're not going to be as likely to get to the point where you're like, oh, these clients are driving me crazy. You know, all those different things. So when you do more of what you love, when you're in alignment with who you are, who you serve, and the problem that you solve, and you're reaching your ideal client and customer, yes, we all get exhausted. We need to exercise self-care, all those things. But it makes a huge difference. Makes a huge difference when you're actually working with your ideal client and customer and not just working with clients or customers of anyone that will pay you. There's a really big difference in that. So that's why it's so important for you to back up and actually build this strong foundation from the very beginning so that you are doing things correctly. So I want you to think of it like the tortoise and the hare. We all know who wins in that story. And the idea behind it is that it's consistent, persistent action in what you're doing. We live in such a fast-paced society where people are in such a hurry to experience fame and fortune and, you know, all the things that they see all over social media, when in reality, if you would actually stay focused on you and your goals and your mission, and you stay consistently persistent with that, you will actually catapult way above a lot of people that are your competition or in your industry, because there's so many people sweeping things under the rug that actually aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, because they're in such a hurry to do, you know, to get to the top, so to speak, that they're not actually building that strong foundation. They're more or less building that house of cards, and they're in their head too much about being in that competition mode or fake it till you make it mode, or, you know, all of these things, when really if you would just back up and stay focused, you're actually going to catapult yourself, because you're going to put yourself in that category that a lot of people actually are not in. They think they are. They're trying to convince themselves and other people that they are, but they're really not. So I want you guys to do a deep dive and self-reflection as I'm talking, and really be truthful with yourself as far as where are you really. We're at the middle point of this calendar year. We still have 6 months to go and a whole lot of amazing things that can happen within that 6 months. So what have you been doing in the first half of the year, and what changes do you need to make in order to end this year like a rock star and set yourself up for the next calendar year? And for some of you, you need to be super, super honest with yourself about where you're at and with your business and your strategies and everything that you're doing. If you're not being truthful with yourself and about what you need and how to fill in those gaps, then you're going to continue doing this over and over and over. You know, there's this meme or this quote, and maybe you've read it in a book, maybe you've seen it on social media, that you don't want to live a life where you're living the same year over and over and over and over like Groundhog's Day. You want to live a true full life where every year is different, exciting, leveled up, doing bigger and bigger and bigger things. You don't want to be stuck doing the same things, expecting that different result, waking up to Groundhog's Day every day. If you've seen that movie, you don't want to live the same life over 20 times. That is depressing. That's negative. That's discouraging. That loop keeps people stuck. So what do you need to do right now to actually get yourself out of that mindset of not being in the right direction, not doing the right things, you know, expecting those different results? So it might be your messaging. It might be that you need to really, really get crystal clear on those 3 things: who you are, who you serve, the problem that you solve. It might be that you need to invest in different strategies, implement different strategies when it comes to your marketing, branding, and media, and understand the power of that trifecta, but the differences between each of the 3. I get asked all the time, Laurie, what's the main difference between marketing and branding? That's a great question, because in order for you to move forward in the right strategies that you need to implement, it is important that you understand why certain strategies are best for your business and why certain ones are not. Even if you're in the same industry as somebody else that you're viewing as your mentor, your competitor, all of those things, there's still all that uniqueness within you that makes you different, where your strategies need to be different than anyone else's in order to stand out, in order to meet your goals, because your goals aren't the same as anyone else's. So I want you to really write this down. If you haven't ever heard me say this, if you've never heard this from any book, anything, this is really important. When you've dialed in your messaging and you're crystal clear on that, you need to understand the strategies behind marketing and branding. Marketing gets them in the door. Branding keeps them coming back. And if you've never heard that before, I want you to write that down and really reflect upon that, because that is an important difference, and it's important to understand so that you know that it's not just your logo. It's not just throwing out, some quotes on social media. There's a whole strategy that needs to be implemented behind what you're doing. And so you need to understand that through your messaging points, and I always teach that you want to have 3 main messaging points that you're honed in on. Everything that you speak, everything that's graphically representing you, everything on social media, on a podcast, on an interview, whatever it is, you want to have those 3 main messaging points, no matter what, that it's crystal clear that people know who you are, who you serve, and the problem that you solve. When you are crystal clear on that, you use those messaging points for your overall marketing. The marketing moves them from a cold to a warm to a buying lead. Once they're in your sphere, the branding keeps them coming back. Many of you have heard that it's a lot easier to continue to sell to someone who already likes, know, and trust you, already in your network, in your circle. You've heard that it's a lot easier to continue selling to those who are already in your sphere than it is to get, it takes more money, more effort to get a new lead, to get somebody new in. It's so true. So I want you to understand the connection between marketing and branding, and how branding actually continues to keep them coming back. You nurture that. You continue to build that strong brand in everything that you do. Now, does that mean that once you build a logo, once you build a website, all these things, that you're good and you kind of move on to the next thing? No, you should always be leveling up everything that you do. How can you improve your website? How can you improve your landing pages? How can you improve how you're showing up on social media? You're continuing to build that strong brand all the time. We live in a fast-paced society where now, we have AI that we're all hearing about and learning from and trying to, figure out how to implement, in the right strategies, different ways. There's all kinds of different things that you need to be aware of in order to level up what you're doing. In order for people to continue to like, know, and trust you, they have to know that you know the industry. They have to know that you're on top of it. They have to know that when they go to your website or your landing pages or your social media, that stuff is not outdated, that you are engaged, that you are with it in your industry, so to speak, that they know that you are cutting edge, that they know that you are paying attention. There's nothing worse than having somebody come to wherever your links are and they're broken, or they're old, or they don't, work for whatever reason, or you get that error message, whatever it is. Now, we all have tech issues. We all have different things that come up, sure. But at the same time, you need to be very aware of what you're doing and how you are always leveling up everything that you're doing. It's not a one and done process. Being an entrepreneur is a fluid process that is never ending. And although for some of you that may seem a little bit daunting, you get better and better and better and faster as you go. And you're able to solve bigger problems faster the more that you go. The deeper dive that you go into everything that you are as an expert in your area, the more problems you're going to be able to solve for people, the stronger that you are in your industry, and the more that people are going to be able to recognize you immediately as the person that can solve their problem. When you use the trifecta of media, branding, and marketing, and you create more or less that omnipresence, which is what most people are after. How do I get to be everywhere? I have people say all the time, they're like, Laurie, you are everywhere. You're like in every magazine, you're all over social media, you're on every stage around the globe, everywhere. There is a strategy that I have used for over 2 decades that has gotten me to where I am. And I continue to level up those strategies all the time. I practice what I preach, so to speak. I do not teach or coach or speak on anything that I have not done myself. And the reason that this is important is that there are a lot of different people out there that are teaching about things that they barely know anything about, or that they haven't tested themselves, or that they heard was a good idea or a good book or a good strategy, but they actually don't know that much about it. So I want you guys to understand that it's important that when you follow someone, when you are when you've kind of gotten interested in someone's marketing or the branding, essence and visuals have caught your attention, they still need to have that meat behind what they're saying, so to speak. And so you need to do your due diligence, not get focused on shiny object syndromes and, buying the next brightest thing, but do your due diligence. This is so important because unfortunately, I work with people every day who have gotten so burned by different things. So do you need to have solid branding, marketing? Absolutely. But you need to actually back up, be the true expert in your field so that you can solve those problems, so that you can create raving fans that continue to support you, are loyal, continue to buy from you. They want your next greatest thing. When you burn people, you're constantly on this rat wheel of new leads, new leads, new leads, new leads. And yes, we all want to build our network, build our leads, serve more people, all those things. But unfortunately, because you're trying to sweep things under the rug and you're trying to almost fake it till you make it, you need to understand that that's only going to get you so far. So although the branding and marketing is super important, you need to be a rock star in your industry for real, for real. So you need to go ahead and listen to those podcasts every morning if that's what you need to start your day, with those positive affirmations, those positive messages. You need to show up in rooms with people, show up, on virtual meetings, whatever that is. Put those amazing things through reading and through books and all these things and learn your craft. You should never reach a point where you feel like you're the best in the industry and you've made it. So I'm tying in a kind of a little bit of a different message this morning, because every time I speak on any stage, I always bring the most challenging things that I hear from people that they're facing, so that everything that I'm teaching is what people are dealing with right now, today, right now, this week. The topics that you hear me speak about are the topics that are like hot off the press from somebody or multiple people I've already talked to. So if you heard me speak last month on this platform, this message is a little bit different because of the messages that I've been, the people that I've been working with over the last few weeks since the last time that maybe you were on Marianne's platform last month. So this is one of those challenges that I am hearing from people, is that you're not a strong enough expert in your area to solve people's problems and to solve bigger problems faster. So I want you guys to really do that deeper dive and understand what you need to do to be the clear choice when someone is looking for their problem to be solved. What is it about how you're showing up, either spoken words, written through blogs, through newsletters, through articles? What is it about how you're showing up on social media? What is it that people are hearing about you? How are people singing your praises, so to speak, in rooms that you're not even in? So I want you guys to think about how you are representing your brand, because everything is about the branding, messaging, media, marketing. There's the trifecta of those three things. So if you are not converting when you are speaking on any stage, whether you're, and social media is a stage, okay, that's a different kind of a stage. If you're not converting your sales, there's usually a marketing problem or a messaging problem. So I want you guys to understand, if your sales are not where they need to be, where you want them to be, it's because people are not clear on who you are, who you serve, and the problem that you solve. They are not clear that you are the clear choice that can solve their problem. So I want you guys to think about your 3 main messaging points and how you can get crystal clear on that so that you can start to build people that like, know, and trust you. You're converting those sales and you're having really, really clear messaging behind that. So that even if people haven't completely experienced working with you yet, they still trust you based on how you show up. They still trust you based on your reputation. They're still tagging you in posts, even if they've never been a paying client themselves. There's something within that you are still building a loyal fan base. So you need to understand that people engage and support you at all levels. What does that look like? You need people at all of those levels. So how are you moving through that process and understanding what it's going to take to create that loyal fan base and to pay attention to how people are engaging with your content and your branding essence and everything that you are and your messaging, and continuing to support you at all those levels and then converting. And the reason that one of the reasons this is important is that I have people reach out to me all the time that have been following me for years. And for whatever reason, now is the right time and they're sliding into my DM. So never underestimate the power of the seeds that you are planting across everything that you're doing with your strategies, because you never know at what point that person is going to be ready, that you're going to hit them at the right time. You're nurturing them through building that relationship with them, even if you've never spoken to them. That's okay. I have this happen to me a lot. Maybe they've gone through a major transition in their life, or maybe they've always been interested in being an entrepreneur, but they were still in a 9-to-5 and they weren't quite ready. And now they're in that transition and they reach out to you. There's all these different reasons why people are ready or not ready for certain things that you may have to offer. So never underestimate the power of showing up and continuing to put out those Facebook Lives, continuing to do the virtual platforms, to travel, to be in those rooms, whatever it is, because you never know. And it really only takes one person, right? We've heard this, one person to completely flip that switch in your business when you're connecting with the right person, when you're connecting with the right people. So there's all of these things that may seem overwhelming, especially if you're just starting out in business. My intention is to not overwhelm you, but to give you an overview of topics, of things that are important for your business, for you to do that deeper dive and to understand the importance of what you need to do and why you need to do it. Now, I talked a little bit about the difference between marketing and branding. I want you to understand, when I talk about the trifecta of building that foundation, I want you to understand how media then comes into play. Once you've built up your messaging, once you have that strong strong marketing and branding, then you can start to add in the media, which is maybe getting featured in magazines, maybe being on podcasts, maybe being in television studios. The list goes on and on with a variety of different media platforms that are out there. And you're beginning to build your credibility using media in order to reach more people and strengthen your marketing and strengthen your branding. So it's the combination of those 3 things that allow you to create omnipresence, allow you to create that expert factor in everything that you're doing, and understand that there is a such thing. You can buy your way into media, or you can learn the strategies and earn your way into media and not pay for media. So there's different there's different strategies, different reasons why certain things are important. And in the same regard, you can pay to be on stages, or you can earn your way on stages, or you can sponsor events and be on stages. There's different strategies that you use. There's different ways that you make money. Now, one of the mindset shifts that I want to encourage you is that you have to invest. You may have an online business, maybe you don't have a brick and mortar. That's okay. It doesn't mean that it's going to be less expensive for you to run your business. You're just allocating dollars in a different way in most cases. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand, is they think, well, there's a whole bunch of free stuff out there that I can utilize. Yes, that's true. Absolutely. There's amazing technology out there that helps you utilize those tools to do anything that you need to do. But at the end of the day, you need to understand the mindset shift that you can't freebie your way to the top. And it's not meant to be, an insult to anybody. I get it. Everybody starts with what they have. Start with what you have. start with free, start with low budget, start with whatever. And then you have to understand that you need to invest and level up as you go. You can't continue to freebie your way to the top and expect to reach your goals and expect to reach that impact by not making those investments in yourself, by not making those investments into events, into, you know, different opportunities. And so to understand the difference between why you would invest in something versus why you would utilize certain strategies that would maybe get you on those stages or get you in that media is something that some of you maybe need to do a deeper dive into and really understand the differences between the strategies that are right for you in order to reach your goals. Because there's very, very different approaches. And in most cases, it takes a little bit of a combination. It's not just this one or this one or this one or this one. There's a little bit of a combination that you have to use with both the earned and the more or less the pay to play opportunities. So, or the sponsorship opportunities or whatever that looks like. I talk to a lot of people lately who don't understand the power of sponsoring events and how when you sponsor events, you actually look like the rock star showing up because you've sponsored the event. You might sponsor it with an in-kind, you know, exchange. You might sponsor it with, you know, bringing people to the event. You might sponsor it with literally just writing a check. There's all different ways that you can sponsor and support an event. But when you position yourself as a sponsor, you've automatically elevated yourself. And I want you to change your mindset around paying, if that's what you're doing, to be a sponsor into some type of an event or some type of a media opportunity, because it positions yourself at a completely different level than when you just pay to play. So I want you guys to understand the difference in that. When you pay the extra $500, $1,000, whatever it is, whatever the event is, even $5,000 if it's the right event, you've automatically positioned yourself. You've gotten all kinds of social media exposure, all kinds of accolades leading up to that event, all kinds of logo, different displays at the, you know, at the event or whatever that is on screen. There's all kinds of opportunities that come with sponsorship. Maybe that means more time speaking on stage, you know, whatever that is. So understand the ROI that you're getting in its entirety for that little bit extra, whatever it might be. Don't be afraid to have that conversation with those event hosts and figure out what they need. How can you serve them? What do they need? And how can it be a win-win? When you position yourself in a different way as a sponsor or as someone that's really supporting the event, and then, you know, they basically give you, you know, shouts out from stage or whatever that is, everybody in the room is looking around for who is that person. You've automatically elevated yourself in so many ways. So these are conversations that I've been having very recently. So there's certain things that I'm bringing to you on purpose because we are now in the second half of this calendar year. And I want you guys to think about the changes that you need to make right now today in order to better position yourself for ending this year in a much, much more powerful way and setting the stage for the next year. We have 6 months. The question is, what are you going to change today in order to rock the next 6 months? And that is plenty of time to make massive change, my friends. Massive, massive change can happen in the next 6 months. So don't be afraid to do that deeper dive and to do the hard work, because people aren't doing the hard work. They're just not. They think they are, but they don't know what they don't know. That's one thing. Or they think that they're still kind of in that fake it to make it, and I'm going to kind of do this and then poof, one day it'll just all happen and nobody will know. It sounds crazy, but there's people out there that are doing that, I know. So be honest with yourself. That's the first thing. And then it's all about sacrifice and how bad you want it, right? With your time. I have people say, you know, well, Laurie, I've got this and I've got this and I've got this. And I just shake my head. Yep, me too. Me too, me too. And not just now at this point in my life, way back when I was, you know, having babies and retiring from being an Oregon State University professor and all those different things. Whatever that is, we all have multiple things that we are juggling. Excuses do not excuse you. So I want you guys to think about that. Excuses do not excuse you. We all have things. Well, Laurie, I just had somebody in my family pass away. I get it. I get it. Trust me. There are probably not a whole lot of things that you can tell me that I have not experienced myself. I don't mean to make light of your stress and the things that you're going through and the challenges that you're facing. I'm just saying I understand. And part of being an entrepreneur is learning to push past the things that you're going through and implement the self-care strategies, implement the focused strategies that you need in that moment, understanding how to pivot in that moment, or doing what you need to do to make adjustments to maybe get past certain tough times, or to implement better time management, better project management, whatever that is. That's part of entrepreneurship. Because my friends, whatever you're going through right now, it's going to be something else and something else and something else. You have to learn the strategies that you need in life in order to keep going and not let those things knock you off track. We all go through tough times. We all go through things where we're juggling, what feels like a million things. But I want you guys to understand that this is part of entrepreneurship. Whatever you're going through right now, yes, you will get past that and you will become stronger. You have a new skill set. You have a new mindset because of the hurdle that you just got past, whatever that is. And you are going to have all of those internal and external skills that you have gotten from whatever you're going through right now in order to get past the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And you continue to build on those. If you've heard me speak at all, you've heard me speak about the incredible link between the internal and the external factors, whether that's letting the environment affect you, whether that's letting certain people affect you, whether that's the choices that you're making, how that your internal toolbox of who you are makes you uniquely qualified to solve external problems in only a way that you can. Okay, I'm going to say that again because this is so powerful. This eliminates the competition because when you understand who you are and you show up fully, there is no such thing as competition. Your internal tools in your toolbox are unique to you. You are uniquely qualified to use your internal tools in only a way that you can to solve external problems. It doesn't matter how many people are in your industry. Nobody is you. Nobody communicates like you. Nobody shows up like you. Nobody has your brain. Nobody solves the problems quite the way that you do. There's all of the things that make you uniquely qualified that allow you to use all of those things in what I call your branding essence and how people are experiencing you. Okay, you want people to like, know, and trust you. You've got to tap into that branding essence and your internal toolbox so that people can understand who you are, who you serve, the problem that you solve, what makes you unique in an obvious way, and that you are the one that can solve their problem externally. Direct link every time. So then what do? You pour into yourself. You increase the tools in your internal toolbox and you pay attention to what's going on around you so that those external factors are not affecting your mindset that are affecting your internal. You allow your amazing internal tools to affect the outside, not the other way around. And there's so many people that are getting caught up in allowing circumstances and people and situations to affect their internal toolbox and knocking them off track. And I want you guys to flip the switch on that. Your internal toolbox allow you to show up in the world in only a way that you can, and to create a brand that's powerful in only a way that you can. It doesn't matter if somebody has a similar logo. It doesn't matter if somebody has your, similar colors. It doesn't matter if they're in the same industry. It doesn't matter. People buy from you. I want you to think about the loyalty that you have to your mentors, your coaches, your favorite brands, your favorite brick and mortar stores, whatever that is. You have that emotional connection to that brand, to that person, to that, brand. There's a study done where, how when you first maybe go to college or you have certain opportunities where, you get your first credit card. And it's like, ooh, I'm old enough to have a credit card, and you're 18 or 21 or whatever that is. There have been studies done that the loyalty to people 20, 40 years later is to their original brand of the card that they first used, because there's that emotional connection that they had with freedom, with independence, with adulthood, with being able to, just be old enough to have their card and all the experiences of that card. It sounds crazy, but it's why credit card companies will try to get kids early. That's why you hear a lot in the financial industry with give the kids, their card to spend on, and you as the parent can put money on their card and all these things. They understand the power of brand loyalty. They understand that. So I want you to think about the power of everything that you are and the brand that you are building, and how are you building brand loyalty? Remember, I said that marketing gets them in the door. Branding keeps them coming back. How are you using your internal toolbox to continue to build that brand loyalty so that people want to continue being loyal and supportive to you for years down the road? Now, if you're a coach, does that mean that you want people to be dependent on you as a coach for 5, 10 years? In my opinion, no. I think that you need to constantly be leveling up. Your coaches need to constantly be leveling up. And if they're not, there's a problem. You never want to be so dependent on your coach that you feel like you have to stay with them, that same person, in order to have success, in order for you to get to that next level. So if that's the case, I want you to really, really check that relationship. There's a lot of really great people out there. I always tell my clients, I don't want you to be dependent on me. I'm helping you with your training wheels. I'm helping you get off the ground. I'm helping you get to that next level. And at a certain point, I want you to go, and I want you to be amazing. And I want you to rock the world and impact the world without me like steering you every step of the way. Now, in the beginning, absolutely. That's part of the relationship. That's part of what I do. But you should never be so dependent on someone that you don't feel confident enough in your own skills. If they haven't built that confidence in you, then there's a problem. I want you guys to think about that. If you are not confident and you feel like you're too dependent on your mentors, on your coaches, on the people that you're around in your circle, and you feel like you can't be successful without them, then you need to really, really check about what you need to do to always be increasing your circle so that you're constantly leveling up. There's a problem when you don't feel confident to stand in your own value. And I want you guys to really, really reflect upon that. Am I saying that you can't be friends with the people 10 years from now, 20 years? No, but the position in their life might change, right? Maybe you paid them as your coach at one point, and then your relationship blossomed, and now maybe you're colleagues, and maybe they're a mentor in a different way, and maybe the relationship needs to evolve, is what I'm saying. So I want you guys to really think about that. Again, this is something that is more or less cutting edge, so to speak, that I've been talking with people about the last few weeks. You don't have to kick people out of your circle, but I want you to pay attention to the influence that they're having and how you are responding to that relationship. And if you need to make changes in your sphere, and how can you constantly get what you need internally, externally, so that you can serve people at the highest capacity. There's so many different aspects to this world that we're all in entrepreneurship. But I want you guys to take a few nuggets that you have heard and aha moments that hopefully you've had, and write those down and reflect upon those. There's a couple of more things I want to leave you with before we run out of time here. And the other one I want to talk about is courses. I've been having a lot of conversations with people about courses and about books. And I'm not going to go too deep into the books, except for to say this. I've been having a lot of conversations with people and I'm not against ChatGPT, and I'm not against AI. I'm not at all. I have a doctorate in educational technology. I'm not against that. But what I want you guys to understand is that it's not to replace who you are. I had a conversation with somebody just a couple of days ago who used ChatGPT entirely to write their book, like the whole thing. And when I went to, and I wasn't a part of this process, but I was kind of like the person that was trying to fix some of the problems. And so I'm asking them questions about some of the things, and they said, I don't know, that's just what ChatGPT came up with. I don't know. That's just what ChatGPT said. They didn't even really know the information in their own book. So I want you guys to utilize technology in a way that does not take away from your own greatness, that does not take your power away, that does not take away your expertise. So there's ways that you can use technology at all levels that enhance what you do. Don't think that they're going to replace what you're doing. There's a way that you can work smarter, not harder, but does that mean that you don't show up in full force? Absolutely not. It means that your strategies are changing, right? With the technology with advancement, which is happening every day, all the time. But I don't want you guys to get caught in the trap of just thinking like, oh, you can just coast and technology is just going to like, show up and do everything for you, because that is not the case. And I want to caution you to not go down that road. So that's one thing I want to leave you with just real quick. The other thing I want to leave you with is about courses. And I'm also seeing this with ChatGPT and AI and the overall misunderstanding of what makes a good course, how you develop a course, all those things. And Laurie, do I do the course first, or do I do the book first, or do I teach a class first, or do I do, all these things? First of all, there's not really a way to screw it up. And there's people out there that will disagree with me on that. There's really not. Start with where you are, whatever you have, and start testing it. Start talking to people. If you don't have a book, if you don't have a course, if you don't have all these things that you see other people having, don't get in your head about that. Start by teaching a webinar. Start by having a free, opportunity for people. Start by posting messages on social media consistently, and then paying attention to the engagement of those messaging and what it is that you have to offer. Take everything that you have and build up on that. Start with what you have. Okay, whatever that is. And then maybe you write a book. Then maybe you develop out the course. There's not a wrong answer to this. And that's what I want people to understand, is don't get so much in your head thinking that there's like this boom, 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 boom secret formula for exactly the order that you're supposed to do everything in. No. And why is that? Because nobody is you. We just talked about that. Nobody is you. You show up authentically with where you're at right now, and you just start speaking your truth and what's in your heart. You start talking to people, you start engaging in conversations, you start asking questions, start paying attention to what people are asking you, the comments that they're making, the feedback that they're making. One of the easiest things that you can do if you are not familiar with data analytics, and you're just getting started and you don't know how to gather up all these information to get to the next step or the next project that you're working on, one of the easiest things you can do, start posting consistently on social media. That's the first thing. Being consistently persistent. And then when you're consistently persistent with your messages, I want you to pay attention to how people are engaging with your posts. Whether it's a live, whether it's a static, whether it's a long form, short form, short form, whatever that is, pay attention. Are people doing it a thumbs up? Are they giving it a heart? Are they making a comment? Are they tagging people? Are they sharing it? Super, super easy way. Even if you're not tracking it, even if you're not keeping track of, all that stuff in a spreadsheet, you visually will know right away what people are responding to on your social media. You can see people are more engaged with that photo or with that messaging point, or they're more engaged with me on Instagram than they are on Facebook. Whatever that is, it's very, very easy to tell. So even if you don't have contact with anybody, even if they haven't engaged with you, the world is telling you what they are interested in just by simple engagement in certain posts versus other posts. So be paying closer attention to that, and that will be your audience telling you what they want more of. If they engage with a certain messaging point on a post, ding, 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 make more messaging posts associated with what their highest engagement is. So a place to start right now, go back over the last 30 days and make notes of your top 5 posts that you engaged with. Now you may say, well, Laurie, I don't have a very big audience. My engagement might only be 5 people. Well, is it 5 versus 0? It's still 5. They still engaged in that. You still have a higher engagement rate versus another platform or another post. So I want you guys to be paying attention to the simple things that you can be doing right now in order to move that needle. Thank you so, so much. I love helping people every day get from wherever you are to where you need to be. Stand in your value. Start with wherever you are right now today to move that needle, to rock the rest of this calendar year and better position yourself to show up in the world in only a way that you can. Thank you so much, Marianne, for having me. Oh, volume.
I love it. I love it when I mute myself on my own summit. I do it on my podcast sometimes too. I love that. Every single thing you said was absolutely amazing. As always, such good reminders, such good information. And yeah, that whole AI thing, because I have a publishing company, I get that all the time. And I'm like, you can't write a whole book with AI. That's not a good idea. I mean, it's an enhancement. It is not a substitute for you. Like, and it's not, AIs are great, but there's no heart there. If you don't have some heart behind, there's got to be some energy that belongs to you that goes in through that. So that's perfect. Thank you so much, Laurie. That was absolutely amazing. We got a whole ton of comments. There wasn't any questions. I looked. Well, I didn't see any. So thank you again so much. I'm so happy that you're at home with your baby.
Yes.
Change.
Yes. Well, for today.
For now, for this minute, until now.
Yes.
Yeah, Laurie's got some great things she's doing too. Is your next venture in New York? I can't remember.
My next stop on my world tour is in New York, but in between my own stops on my world tour, I'm speaking on, somebody's stage somewhere in between time. So I bounce back and forth between hosting my own events and speaking on other people's events. But yeah, so I've got, and then virtuals, in between. As you know, I was in the Bahamas, but I was still speaking on your virtual event.
Right. Not just the Bahamas. Vegas, where were you last time? Texas? I don't even know.
Bahamas. Oh, and I spoke in Miami. Yeah. And then, yeah, I'm always on a stage somewhere doing something and doing multiple somethings at the same time. So I love it, but that's the power of technology, right? That's how you use technology in a good way, in the right way.
The best part of technology. And I'm so blessed to have you on all of my summits. And I'm super blessed to have known you for the last almost 5 years now, right? It's coming up to. So thank you again. Amazing as always. And I wish you a great day. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you
so much for having me. And people can comment, reach out to me anytime. Yeah, lauriemcneil.com will.
I'm going to get you to put that into the chat on Facebook.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You can my Facebook page.
Yeah, for sure. I have a download guides and newsletters and blogs and all kinds of stuff on my website. That's just the easiest way, kind of a one-stop shop. So
correct. So just keep looking for the chat. She's as soon as she gets off, she'll probably put it on. So it'll be on there in the next 5 or 10 minutes, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'll do that. Thank you so much, Laurie. And with that,
thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy the rest of the event.
Thank you.
Thank you.